Hello everybody, Dartt here, and I wanted to take some time today to talk about something that I've noticed while trying to get my Death Knight his ring upgrade, his legendary ring upgrade. And that is the extent of trolling behavior in LFR, or looking for raid. Now, obviously there's quite a bit of difference between the LFR experience versus guild raids. There's a much different atmosphere and much different feel. For one thing, guild raids tend to promote player improvement. And I'll qualify that. Generally, guilds raid on normal difficulty or better. There's discussion via either vent or mumble. Mechanics tend to be taken more seriously. There's a sense of community between the players. And you really don't want to embarrass yourself in front of people you see and play with every day. On the other hand, LFR tends to promote the worst common denominator as far as behavior goes. It's the easiest of all difficulties. There's little to no communication in-game, let alone outside of it. Mechanics are dumbed down to the point where they're not taken seriously at all. So there's no need for that. There's no sense of community. And by and large, the attitude seems to be, I don't know any of these other people, I don't care about them, so if I have to be an ass, so be it. I'll give you some recent examples. And one of the lightest examples that I can come up with is, it was my Death Knight tank's first time on Iron Reaver. And I asked, is there a huge difference on LFR versus Heroic or Mythic? The response I got was, just mash buttons. I thought to myself, okay. At the end of this, obviously Iron Reaver went down, but the statement was made, see, it's so easy, a Mythic Raider can do it. Okay, alright, I've got thick skin. And it was kind of a funny comment, it was humorous and lighthearted, but at the same time, it could be nausea-inducing to anybody who spent weeks and months learning the fights at Heroic and Mythic level. Next example. I type in, don't pull Gagra. And everybody seems to be okay with that. Skirt around Gagra, kill the trash pack beyond her, or him, or whatever that thing is. And no sooner does the last trash spawn die, here comes Gagra. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know if this is intentional trolling or just a stupid accidental blunder. But it seems like there's no expectation of consequence for not heeding warnings. So the raid, for the most part, straightened up after I told them next time something like that happened, I was just going to let the offender die, rather than waste the rest of the raid's time. Moving on. Another run. I asked who's taking the construct on LFR Socrathar. No response. Hunter pulls, no misdirection. I wind up having to death grip Socrathar to save the raid from a wipe. And this is despite ready checks and pull timers all the way through the raid. Random person in the raid types in RIP. That is to say, we're all dead in the raid chat. Now, this is obviously bad behavior, but the worst that I've seen, troll pulling Archimond while we're engaged on the trash. This happened, I think, 3 times in a row. And I'll be honest, I've run Heroic Archimond for months with multiple hunters, all using Barrage, myself being one of them. Anybody who's ever fought Archimond knows there's a huge area there. there's no reason to ever pull Archimonde while you're fighting the trash. And I have never had Archimonde pulled accidentally, let alone intentionally, while clearing trash there. Now, most World of Warcraft players that I've seen are generally good people. They enjoy helping others, they don't mind donating a little of their time, and they will readily teach other people the finer points of how to play their class, how to get things done in game, or whatever. But it seems to me that this behavior reflects a changing social circumstance or dynamic. In a guild setting, there's a huge opportunity for return on positive behavior. You go out, you do something right, you do the right thing, and down the road, you might be rewarded for it, one way or the other. Either in terms of friendships, opportunities for advancement in the guild, they might make you an officer or something like that, or you might get invited to more raids or 5-man groups or whatever. In LFR, there's no opportunity for return on any positive behavior whatsoever. It's simply not encouraged. As a result of this, you see negative expectations. People expect things to go poorly. People have little to no patience. Peer pressure is absolutely ineffective, to the point where Blizzard added the vote to kick system. Critical raid roles assume sole leadership, if there's any leadership at all, simply due to the rarity of that role signing on to raid. There's no incentive to communicate, interact, or use any form of strategy. And the trolling behavior in this situation can consist of heckling, insulting other players, pulling inappropriately, wandering ahead of tanks, you name it. Now, I've noticed some of the same behavior over the years in battlegrounds where people are consistently losing, but it manifests slightly differently. You'll see finger pointing, kill-death ratio leaderboard elitism versus people achieving objectives, say, gear nitpicking, people just randomly whining, let them win, as if the other side needs them to do that. Failure to acknowledge the true deficiency that's causing them to lose, or an enemy advantage, like lack of healers, poor tactics, or being up against a pre-made group. Now, there are several possible solutions, I guess you could say, and I'm kind of tossing this out there as sort of a maybe, because I don't know, and you can never anticipate how people are going to play despite whatever you do. One of these is a random reward schedule for above average and excellent play. I guess you could add in currency rewards, achievements, mounts for, say, good raid leadership, high metrics, consistently and successfully negotiating raid mechanics. Another is stiffer penalties for being vote to kicked. You could have escalating lockout timers, like every time you're locked out, it just keeps growing more and more time. Diminishing loot probabilities, which is kind of mean, but if it gets it across. And last, removal of appropriate raid achievement completion across the board while this sort of thing is in effect. Say, if you screw around in LFR and then say you want to get carried on a moose run, that's not going to happen. Or neither are you going to get your ahead of the curve achievement. Anyway, this is Dartt. I want to know what you think. Please let me know your opinions or stories in the comments below. As always, like if you enjoyed this video. Feel free to share this or thumbs up. Also, if this sort of discussion interests you, I'd love to have you as a regular subscriber. Good luck to all of you, and have fun in all of your games. And take care, everybody. Thank you.